Hello, everyone, and welcome to this interview and this discussion with Athena Todd. I am thrilled to have her here. We're going to be talking a lot about AI today. She is an influential cross-cultural branding expert and AI automation consultant, has significantly impacted the global entrepreneurial landscape. She is the co-founder of LaunchLab Academy, and she brings over 16 years of business consulting and cross-cultural communication expertise. So she specializes in streamlining operations and elevating personal brands for coaches, consultants, and entrepreneurs. And Athena integrates cutting-edge AI technology to simplify workflows, enhance productivity, and attract high-quality leads, achieving up to 60% time savings for her clients. And her dedication has been recognized with the 2016 Difference Maker of the Year and 2024 Global Recognition Award. And I'm thrilled to have her here because just AI is such a hot topic. And I think having a discussion around it was perfectly relevant for the summit. So Athena, welcome, and just tell me a little bit about why you wanted to be here and why you wanted to talk about the topic of AI.
Thank you. Thank you, Karen, for having me here today. Well, when I saw your summit, Women Leader Bully Summit, it actually kind of hit my heart first before my head, just because for me as a woman and also a cross-cultural professional, to have the voice and stepping up to speak up and making the impact. That's what drove me into your summit. And because especially for cross-cultural like me, you have a combination. I was raised in the Eastern culture. And when I came to the United States, when I was age of 20, I already have very solid foundation of, the Eastern upbringing. And when I combine with the Western culture, it kind of make me a hybrid brand. So, of course, I had to go through a lot of confusion, have my new identity as who I am, right? Now I'm not completely, when I go back to Taiwan to visit, they don't see me completely Taiwanese. And when I come to, when I'm in US, people don't see me completely like American. I was like, who am I, right? So, and then not only put an account of me as a woman, when I'm into like the business world, especially when I first starting out, I was in the I was in the real estate investing industry. And back then, 20 some years ago, I was literally like swimming in the sharks. And all the men's world, they're like, where this little Asian lady doing here? What is she doing here, right? So, for me, that is the reason why it's so important for me to share that, not only to because for me as where I'm coming from, speaking up is the last things on our mind.
So it has been also a very personal journey for you, yet living and I'm sure evolving in the U.S., a big culture. I don't know if clash is the word, but at least, shock. So. Okay, so great. I think your perspective is really, really interesting. And why AI? So if you were in real estate with all the sharks, not all men are sharks, but still, we'll say, at least at that point in time, probably 20 years ago, there were quite a few. How did you evolve and how did you get into the world of AI?
Great question. So as many of, everybody out there in the market, when they first started out, we're starting out with working with someone. So I was actually pivot into real estate investing was actually my coworker challenged me. Forget about your dream and goals. You'll be end up just like me, making $14 an hour and you're not able to afford a home. Remember, you're not able to what? What did that tell Athena? No, I'm going to prove you wrong. I mean, I was in my early 20s. So, of course, that was the beginning of the journey of my real estate investing. So I invested myself in the education. So I bought my first investment property 8 months after. So that was my beginning journey. Oh, maybe I'm in this path of entrepreneurship because I like to prove people wrong. And then later on, I had been noticing, I just started investing then until I started to, because at the time, I also realized, I didn't know anybody in the US. So for me to quickly establish myself in the either professional field or business world, I have to start building my connection. I don't have my mom and dad here, and there's nobody, just me, one person. So that's why when I first started out, little did I know how to build, the presence and all that. I found this network, as I heard things called MySpace. At the time, I have no idea what kind of network that is. I just thought there's some kind of social network. At least I can start to know someone. And then until I realized, I start getting a really weird invite asking out for a date. I was like, what the hell? What kind of a site is this? And then later on, that's when I realized, oh, like I got on the wrong site. And because I was putting my pictures and all that, I didn't really know what to put. I just thought, that's just how people put in some general information. And then until later on, a friend of mine told me there's things called Facebook. And this time I learned my lesson, right? We always learn from our lesson. And then this time I want to make sure my intention to have Facebook is I want to attract like-minded people just like me. So when people are friendly with me, then we can actually talk about this very similar interest and topic. So I set up my intention and my Facebook to be like-minded professional. They're career oriented. I also set it up to be personal development. I'm really big on personal development, starting 2008, because I know to be able to have a successful business, you gotta be courageous. All those kind of things is kind of go hand in hand. You cannot do one without the other. So those are the two key things, my core value in that. And that I have been building my personal brand since 2008 based on those core two values. And then little did I know that was a beginning of journey of my personal branding. And then how I actually got a social proof in a way to know that it's actually working is I got a private message from someone in Rich Dad Education program. This is, I'm not sure if people are familiar with Robert Kiyosaki from Rich Dad Poor Dad. He is one of the most known, international known business entrepreneur, especially in real estate. Had published the book all around the world. The most popular book is Rich Dad Poor Dad. So that is when I got invited into part of their coaching team. So it's kind of like, that's kind of the beginning of my coaching career. Until later on, because I've been coaching a lot of people are kind of cross-cultural. English is their second language. And then notice a lot of them having those limiting beliefs. They're not good enough, the imposter syndrome. And then even like they have an accent and they're not able to speak clear English. Like I don't speak clear English, but that shouldn't be the reason that stopped me from speaking up. But that is how a lot of people are afraid to speak up. And that is the reason why when I see your summit, I figured that this would be a great platform to demonstrating you don't have to be perfect to show up. And that is also part of my brand. And I want to prove it to people, you don't have to be perfect for some big organization to recognize you, to become part of those, global movement. I was able to impact other people, just everyday people like me, don't speak perfect English, to go out and do great things and to be successful. And that's kind of when COVID happened, is kind of evolving into, because since everything's all shut down, right? There no more seminar, right? At the time, no more seminar. Everybody's like, well, we got a pelvet. And the same thing, I have a pelvet. So I get to learn, because I know when I was coaching people, a lot of time people have those limiting beliefs. They cannot convert themselves into taking action. So I invest myself in education. So I became one of the Tony Robbins, train coach, the Robin Adamus coach. So kind of add another tool kit on top of, what I already have of my industry knowledge. And of course, just kind of like how everybody's evolving in their career. And later on, when I realized when I'm training I'm at coaching my students, AI started getting involved, right? Now, and then 2 years ago, that's when we started noticing ChatGPT starting, that just people know about it, but like how to exactly using on the level that need to be used to optimize the result. And that part was still unknown at the time for most people. And that's when we are heavily invested our time into this area. So now we are able to partner with the AI team that is working with Tony Robbins and Richard Branson on their AI initiative. So because we started early, so we are established ourselves with the high profile, people that we're able to do the business with. And that is the reason why I feel especially more AI tools or AI whatever getting involved, people are afraid they are losing that human touch. That is the reason why I want to bring back the personal branding. But AI tool is still there. AI tool, to me, the AI is just amplified the personal brand, but it's not get rid of the human side of it.
And so so that's fascinating. So I did not know all of your stories. So thank you for sharing that, because so first of all, I just want to also recognize that you are an example also of bold leadership, of, leaving your country, navigating in a new country, not speaking the language, or not growing up with the language, but still putting yourself out there. And I think that example just goes to show that, small steps lead to big results. Just look at those small decisions that you have made over time, and now look at the leaders that you've been working with, and now the opportunity to work with these companies. That is amazing. So thank you for sharing your story. I'm, very impressed. So, just wow. And so tell us, like, what are you doing now with AI? So I think first of all, it's a very big topic.
It is.
Very important topic. We are going to have there's a second person on the summit who is very heavily involved in AI. And in full transparency, it's my daughter. Okay. She is 23 and she has founded a company, and she's an AI consultant and prompt engineer. So it is a hot topic. So I fully understand. But tell us concretely, what do you do, and how can the people that you work with, how do you help them use it and assimilate it? Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Sure, of course. Just like I said, every time we are evaluating and assessing a company, especially our angle is, through personal branding, because statistics have been showing, especially actually Forbes have an article out last year, it's time for business to investing in personal branding, because now, just like you said, AI are starting getting more and more into everybody's everyday life. People are craving for that human touch. Where's that human? Right? So you almost have to do a little bit of opposite. So this is one of the statistics that we have researched. 74% of consumers saying they will trust more of a with someone that have a trusted personal brand, and 82% of the consumer saying they will wait on their buying decision based on the executive have trusted personal brand. And then 76% of people are saying they are expecting moving forward hyper personalized interaction with the brand. Mm-hmm. When we talk about hyper, like how do you possibly do this, right? If people are coaches and course creators or solopreneurs, unless you have a big team to help you to do that, most people will be scratching their head and trying to figure out how do they possibly do that, right? They still need to sleep. And then also cloning, the clone is going to be part of it's actually the emerging trends. And that's kind of how people can experience your personal brand presence and the hyper personalized interaction, on that 24/7 level. So that is the emerging trend is coming. And of course, the AI agent are going to be, I know some people are afraid of, losing jobs and all that. Unfortunately, I mean, at one point, I think everyone on this earth will be losing their job because AI are getting smarter and smarter. You just ask your daughter, right? So I think eventually it will be. It's just when is the time? But just the way the AI is evolving, probably by 2030, most of us probably will be out of job, right? I mean, Elon Musk is already talking about, migrating into Mars, right? So, it's like, the things that are getting involved is really in very, very hyper speed. And that's kind of why I want to bring back that humanity side of it. And that's why I'm personally, I have a very special place for the personal branding just based on my, experience. And then that's why we starting to craft the framework to help people building their personal brand. Because without a foundation of, whatever the framework people are teaching, AI is really just amplifying whatever that is. It doesn't really have a solid, concrete things for people to use. That's why people like playing the tools. A lot of people are playing tools last year, and they don't really, even though it's fun to play in the tools, but exactly how that integrate and, automate that whole thing for their business, people are still kind of unclear. And that's why we always started with the foundation, start with helping them building their brand identity, starting to craft their brand label, just like kind of like a driver license. You have all the information on to share with people. What is your brand identity? What's the message? Your methodology that you teach, and what is the theme around that? And so that this first step is really to helping the company or, executive to build their authority in this particular field they're in. Mm-hmm. And the second part is the stories. So there's a lot of stories to tell. Some story put people to sleep, documentary, or whatever story, not against documentary, but usually I'm not a person watching documentary. But, there are 5 key stories that really attention grabbing and actually making an impact on the brand. First is what we call the defining moment story. That is usually people want to know how, just like the question you asked me earlier, what happened to get you where you at today, right? What exactly that part of your story. And the second story is people want to see if you're the thought leader of your field. They want to see your vision. What do you see the future, right? And the third one is, of course, the most common one people really know, case study, testimonial. People want a social proof, to see if you are credible, with the people that you actually already implement and have results. People want to know that. That's one of the reasons people can trust you. And then another one is people say, if they have product they launch, then people want to know what is the story behind that, why you launched this product, right? And this is one of the things that people can build that connection. And also people want to know, okay, what's your observation of what's already happening in the market? So it's kind of like you're doing your work, you're finding the statistics. You're not just, coming up something from ChatGPT, right? Generate whatever. Most people, especially for your audience, are intermediate, already know ChatGPT is really generating but whatever you're putting in, and it just calculate the probability. It's not a facts. It's not a stats, right? So that is kind of the framework. We're kind of helping people and then creating a design around the copy of their brand identity, their story, and how we turn that into the design. And then we market. And we're using the AI tool. This is where the last part is. How the AI tool can help them amplify is to help them connecting the dots. We call it brand workflow because each of those steps I was talking about, there are AI tools to help people speed up the process and connecting everything they're doing to help them build their brand, to make it more efficient, help them save time.
Okay. I get it now. I get it now because I I personally find AI very powerful.
Mm.
And so I didn't understand the connection with personal branding, which is why I wanted to have you on. So what you are doing, if I kind of paraphrase, once you have worked on the branding, on the personal branding of the founder or whoever, there's a story component. And then you're also using AI to build a cohesive brand story across all of the touch points, I'm assuming that people
Prompt.
are
Yeah.
exposed to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Custom
Okay.
prompts. That was so every time when we're helping our clients with the copy part of it, the story, help them get clear with the message of the brand message and tonality and theme, we're definitely using ChatGPT, but with the customized prompt.
Yeah.
So it to me, this is kind of the way I'm being shared with our clients is we nowadays we all have to learn how to speak AI needs. It's a new language, right? And how do we speak to them? The customized prompts that we're providing to you guys is the language they speak. And that's how you communicate with them, right? It's not just English or, whatever language you want to put into. They have very particular language model, like how they can better understand you. Just like, any human, right? It's sometimes like, oh, they don't get what I'm saying. Because we don't speak the same language, right? It's not just the language itself, but people have a different filter. They're different upbringing. They can understanding what you're saying differently in their part, and analyzing from their part of the world. So AI is the same thing.
Okay. Okay. That is absolutely fascinating. Because it's true that I think AI, it's, I mean, it's here to stay, and I'm sure it will evolve. And just seeing how it's being used, this is the first time I'd heard about like what you do. So that is amazing. And so tell us a little bit about, is it also something that evolves or um, because I'm sure that AI tools evolve, or I'm assuming AI tools evolve. Um, so is it something that's dynamic that your clients are constantly updating, that you are constantly working with them? Like once you start working with a client, like what is the process or the service that you offer? What does that look like?
So a lot of time it depends on the company size, of course. We use a lot of the people that come to us are solopreneurs themselves.
Okay.
In the past several years are coaches and consultants, and we have small agency like real estate agencies. But most of the people really just want, just like probably many of the women leaders here, is they want to make an impact. They want to create a legacy that can pass it down the generations. So that's kind of another reason why I drawn into your summit. So that's kind of before we even start, first we have to assess kind of where they're at. Because a lot of time, people are coming from a different shape and sizes. Sometimes people have one thing without the other. So we kind of get some idea, what exactly do they already have on, whatever their branding material they already have. And then we'll see how they organize their data. And because some of the people, just like some of your audience, they already implement some of the AI tools. Then instead of interrupt what they already working, we'll see what it's already implementing in their workflow. And then when we interview the CEO or the coach, then we get to see what is their everyday operation workflow look like. But of course, for coaches, the marketing, sales, and, those kind of operations are pretty much the key things. So, of course, the solopreneurs, their workflow is smaller. But of course, for a bigger corporation, usually people have 5 to 10 employees. Of course, you'll start seeing they have marketing department, sales department. They have, recruiting department. Start getting more and more department. So in that case, we usually interview one department at a time. So when we first started out, we usually started with the marketing because that is the lowest hanging fruit. People feel less threatened because they don't want you to start shaking their operation. It's kind of like you try to do the open heart surgery. No, you can start with my knee, right? Let's start with the knee surgery. It's less intrusive, right? So that's kind of usually where we start. We want to start people able to experience immediate change, soon as it doesn't have to take forever, because sometimes in the operation might take a little bit. So we usually started with marketing. So we usually interview the key player that is dealing with their marketing. Either sometimes for smaller entrepreneur, they have VA or they just have a small team, and then we just interview the key player that handle the work, whatever the everyday task they are doing, and then we come up with a strategy how will be best implementing into their company. And then we come up with a customized solution to the AI strategy we can actually use to actually start using it into their company. And we start implementing and we monitor and revise, just like what you're saying. AI is constantly evolving. So we got to have the very last component. We have to monitor it because some of the AI tools we are introducing to our client last year, I'm no longer introducing some of the tools. There's just too many out there, right? We're starting from 16,000 of AI tools, and now it's like 25. There's so many tools out there. We have to actually screen. We have to delete some of those things that are not really useful because a lot of time people just don't know which tool to choose from. Yeah. So part of the choosing the customized AI tool is part of our task to helping the clients in that. And some people want to have their customized AI tools, and then we have to look into that, or customized prompt. And some of the company want to have you come in to run a workshop to train their team how to use either the AI tool or how to use the prompts. So it all depends on what the customers are looking for. Some people just say, well, I'm good with you just introduce me some of the off-the-shelf tools that I can just use. I don't need to be perfect, good enough. Then I can just, get by with what I'm doing right now. And later on, when I have more of a budget, I can invest in AI, customized AI tools that you can customize to my exactly need. Then I can budget that in. That's why usually the last client I was talking to, and this is exactly what I tell him. I can build you a bike, or I can build you a car, or I can build you a plan. It depends on kind of your budget.
Okay.
There works.
Yeah. And so when it comes to marketing, for example, because as solopreneurs or coaches, marketing is 80% usually of what we do. What are maybe one of the or two, just give us an example of one marketing touch point and how concretely AI is used to, I don't know if it's fine tune or up level that touch point.
Okay.
Like what would it do concretely? Yeah.
Okay. So for me, like I know this, at least this is one of the things our clients kind of constantly asking us to help the most is to organize and then to reduce the amount of time they have to spend on creating social media content. Right? Those are the big things, right? For a lot of people that try to build a brand. Every time you talk about the social media content is just like huge undertaking. So I literally just do a demo this morning. I have created, AI powered, of course, is the 12-month of a social media marketing plan. So I divided by the quarter. So each quarter we have a focus point. Because one of the things we have noticed, a lot of our clients are just constantly doing all things at once, and they just overwhelm. And they say, "Oh, screw that. That's just too much. I can't do it." So that is kind of one of the things we have noticed. So we started to help them break down by, okay, we know there's a lot of things to do, especially as a solopreneur. You're pretty much the one person, you handle everything. Why don't we just start with one focus? Quarter one, we focus on your brand identity. And then we would be mostly I would actually give him a specific task okay, so this is where we're going to build brand identity. Let's craft your brand label, who you are as a person or your business, and what's your message, and what's your methodology, what's the theme, and give them a customized prompt to help them generate that copy. So once we have that copy, we actually are able to feed into the tools that can help them generate the story. Like, because a lot of our clients are running webinars. So instead of they had to grab a phone and it's like, I know I had to create a social media post. I need to create some sort of video because 90% of audience are really reading the video, like watching the video nowadays. Not a lot of people really, reading the text or just single post, right? So a lot of people feels like I gotta record a video. No, another time I had to do my hair, I had to do my makeup. People still want to do that. So how can we combine the tasks that you are already doing on a weekly basis or daily basis into something just like what we're doing right now? I can technically take this recording and I can fit into one of the AI tools and I can upload it and edit just like a Word document. I can ask to repurpose my video to be 5 highlighted viral reels. And I didn't have to do extra work. I didn't have to come to another day to prepare my hair and makeup. I can just get everything done in one. So this is just one of the way, for solopreneur can saving their time on doing the social media posts and literally just the tools to do that.
Okay. That's a great example. Extremely concrete because yes, we do our hair and makeup before we do videos. Okay. So listen, this is absolutely fascinating. If somebody wanted to work with you, one, how can they contact you? And also, do you have any free resources that could help them even just start? So tell me about that.
Yes. So I do offer the free 15 minutes of brand audit. So there's no obligation. I don't charge anything. It's just opportunity for us to talk so they can relax. So there's no need to bring the credit card here, but it's just opportunity for me to help them get a clarity on their brand. So of course, we have the opportunity to talk it over to see if, everything works well, then we might be moving towards to working together. This is also an opportunity for us to do that. But, but at least they get to walk away with the clarity, exactly what they can do, taking where they are to the next step they can do. So that is what I would offer for your audience.
Okay. And so I will link everything to your website and to all your social media. So this has been fascinating. Thank you so much. Do you have any last minute words or thoughts that you want to offer before we sign off?
I would say, go leaders! Yes, we rock! So anyway.
Okay. That's amazing. I hope that everybody, if you're just listening to this, go check out the YouTube channel because the energy is contagious. So thank you so much for being here. Thank you, listeners, for tuning in. And we'll be in touch. Thank you, Athena.
Thank you, Karen. Thank you.